What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Shonen Showdown. I'm your host, Rob, and sitting to the right of me is
Scott.
And today we're going to be talking about Magi. Yes, we're going to be talking about the two most prominent leaders of the show. We're going to be talking about the king of Singia, Sinbad himself. He is a complete beast, but we can't forget the Kouen Empire as well.
Alibaba, yes, we cannot forget.
What?
Oh, all right.
Don't listen to him. We're talking about Ren Kouen of the Kouen Empire.
Oh, that's right.
He is also a beast. So, we're trying to compare these two leaders. Not just talking about complete, power level. Because if you're talking about power level, if you don't have Sinbad
that's a rigged debate.
You should check into your local physician. But we're going to talk about their leadership skills, and we want to compare them and see who is a better leader than the other. So, Scott, let me start off with you. Who do you think is a better leader, Sinbad or Kouen?
All right. So, honestly, when you're doing this debate, you have to put aside strength, because that's not what this debate is. So, putting that aside, this might surprise some people, but I'm still going to go with Sinbad. Actually, I'm going to go. Obviously,
you're going with Sinbad.
However, I am going to go with Sinbad, but I did find a lot of good evidence for Ren, and I did want to go over that because he had it was really close. It was a lot closer than any type of strength comparison in this anime. However, I'm still going to have to give it to Sinbad.
You're going to have to give it to Sinbad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's funny that you say that. Like you said, if we're talking about power levels here, it is obviously Sinbad. But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to having an unstoppable force of an empire, yes, I'm going with Kouen. Actually, I am sticking with Ren Kouen. And I know a lot of people out there are gonna be like, whoa, hold on, you're not gonna disrespect Sinbad like that.
It's not that crazy to think about.
It is not that crazy. They are actually, when it comes to leadership, they are very, very close, and it is very, very close.
It is close.
But before I go into Ren, let me give everyone an idea of why you think Sinbad is a better leader.
Okay, well, first and foremost, the easiest part, he has his own country that he created from scratch.
Right.
And if you watch The Adventures of Sinbad on Netflix, he started making this country and bring together the people needed for it when he was 14 years old. Right?
Right.
So that's no small feat.
Definitely not.
In addition to that, he always has some master plan or some type of agenda at hand to make his kingdom, the Seven Seas Kingdom, more powerful. And quite often it involves manipulating those around him, taking advantage of people.
Right.
Which kind of doesn't make him seem like too good of a guy. However, even if those plans fail, he's still willing to be a stand-up guy and help out his friends above, helping out his kingdom. Even though verbally that's his main goal, and that's what it seems like, he's always willing to do the right thing and help out those around him, especially the weaker ones, just to get by, even if it's, even if he doesn't have to do so, even if it could possibly hurt his kingdom.
He's very helpful.
Still willing to do that.
He's very helpful.
So that's my first couple points that I want to have for Sinbad. What do you think?
Listen, everything that you said is definitely applicable to the situation. Yes, Sinbad is a great leader, and when it comes to his leadership, you just mentioned it earlier. I think his most important attribute is his willingness to help others.
Yes.
He's an amazing tutor, especially when it comes down to the main three, Alibaba, Aladdin, Morgiana. If you're talking about them three, he was able to set them up with tutors. He was able to, help them go to different countries and learn different things throughout his own household members that he had within his crew. Sinbad is one of the most resourceful leaders there is. But there is a reason why I'm going with Kouen. And I think, everyone should actually, understand and not look at this through the eyes of just, Sinbad's glory. But if you step back for just 1 second and actually look into it, Ren Kouen is actually a better leader. And let me tell you why. The Kouen Empire is one of the most elite empires in the entire show. I mean, if we're talking about most of the countries, surrounding countries, everyone is always embracing themselves, thinking, all right, is Ko gonna come and attack us? Is it Ko gonna come and try to, invade us, take over our territory or not? What's happening? Even Sindria, Ko's empire is so freaking unbelievable that Sindria had to form more alliances and team up with the Leem Empire just to avoid going into, situations where they would be, on the fence. Also, talking about, Kouen being a great leader, is that the only problems that Kouen actually has to deal with, and the Ko Empire, is just internal affairs, if you really want to think about it. They're not really worried about other people on the outside coming to attack them. They know how great they are. When it comes to territorial expansion, they are virtually unstoppable. But when it comes to internal affairs, you have Hakuryu and Hakue that have their own, types of ideas of how the directions of the Ko Empire, how they want that to end up. And what did we end up seeing? We ended up seeing Ren Kouen basically stopping his own brother's plan by offering the Emperor's throne to him, right? And when we were seeing that, it threw Hakuryu off, because Hakuryu was like, okay, whoa, all right, he's throwing the Emperor's throne at me because he knows that, if he doesn't do this plan, what happens? All right, there's going to be internal conflict, and with internal conflict, the Ko Empire, that's their weak point, because there's no one that can there's no one that can stop them on the outside. They have the organization on their hand. They have Al-Thamin on their hand, right? And they already have Judar. Now, also, to bring up another point, when Sinbad decided to team up with the Leem Empire because he knew how basically unstoppable the Ko Empire was, what did we also see? We saw Ren Kouen himself actually bring Aladdin onto his side, right? Because he knew that would hinder Sinbad's progression. It's a game of chess between these two leaders, if you really want to think about it. And I think Ren Kouen plays it slightly better than Sinbad. It's very close though. It is very close. I just think that, if you have Judar who's a Magi on your team, and you also just, are trying to recruit Aladdin in the same process, whether it's by blackmailing or whatever, he was able to get Aladdin on his side as well. It makes the Ko Empire even that much more formidable, in my opinion.
I mean, that's kind of a stretch. You're gonna have to refresh my memory on when are you talking about in the season finale when mid-battle? Are you talking about that alliance between Aladdin and Ren, or what? You talking about?
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, Aladdin and Ren Kouen actually had an agreement that Aladdin was gonna help him.
That was more or less a battle happenstance than a formal alliance, if you ask me.
It was informal.
Yeah.
It was informal, but it was enough to thwart Sinbad's plan, because Sinbad, like you just said earlier, Sinbad he always moves with a plan, right?
Yes.
Everything you make, if Sinbad is eating food, you better believe that he's eating food for a reason. Like, that's how he moves. He's very, he plans all the time. But when we're talking about Ren Kouen, he's a person that has to basically predict Sinbad's movements. And he does that very well, which is why at the end, he basically said, all right, you could team up with the Leem Empire if you want to. I'm taking Aladdin, because that's the one Magi that Sinbad wanted. And this is a big downfall that I have with Sinbad, actually, is that his basically his power and his influence is so suffocating that it actually forced Aladdin away. And Aladdin said, you know what, I want to go to Magnustat, and I just want to learn new things, and I can't be here right now. And he was trying to convince Aladdin to represent Sindria as being their Magi, and, have conversations with Scheherazade and stuff like that. And Aladdin was like, you know what, Sinbad, I gotta go. All right, this is too much for me. Your ideas are starting to become my ideas, and I don't want that. I want to be my own Magi. I want to be my own human being. I want to be my own person. And I think that Ren Kouen was able to kind of pick up on that kind of dynamic between the two and took advantage of the situation. That takes skill. That takes very you got to be very attentive in order to get that done. And he's a great leader for that. Like I said, the Ko Empire, they don't have to worry about anybody attacking them. everyone's worried about them attacking other people, you know?
All right. So hold up. You got a lot of points, a lot of details, a lot of episodes. However, what do you think resulted in more being done in terms of progress for the individual leaders? Do you, would you say that Aladdin's help with the final battle, or no, would you say that Ren's help for the final battle, was it more useful than Sinbad's help in that battle?
Are you talking about power level, or are we still talking about leadership?
We're talking about end results of the show. We're talking about progress in terms of defeating Aldarin, you know, stopping the...
I would have to give that to Sinbad. With the Seven Seas Alliance, I mean, you know...
I would agree.
I would have to give that to Sinbad. But we cannot sleep on Ren Kouen's own personal team. I mean, he has his own personal team of household members, you know, that have their own...
They were impressive. They did fight.
They were very, very impressive.
They did
and
fight.
He also has the ability to call his entire crew at command. I mean, he called all his brothers and sisters and had them all basically, you know, teleport there in an instant. With the, you know, with the way their magic system, right? Yes. The way their magic system is set up, they can communicate and, you know, come together.
Okay, so I got a question for you for Ren, since you're a big Ren fan. How do you account for the fact that he knew, this is kind of a plus and a negative. He knew about the existence of the organization from the start. Mm-hmm. He's been trying to cooperate with them briefly, barely, just enough to prevent a civil war, you know, to prevent thousands of innocent people dying. However, how do you account for the fact that towards the end of the show, after all these years, he's known about their involvement, he really hasn't really done much to get rid of the organization's influence on his country, especially considering the fact that he's planning on becoming the next emperor?
Well, I think Ren, that's an interesting point that you bring up. I think that Ren's, you know, Ren Kouen, I think his actual idea of what he has for the country has to more do with, you know, finding about more knowledge about the world. If we see Ren Kouen as a person, you saw how interested he was in learning about knowledge, learning about, you know, the language of Tron. He wanted more to do with he wanted more to do with the history of the world. You know, he wanted to find out more stuff. So if he could use the Koh Empire as a means to satisfy his lust for gaining more knowledge, he would do that. And I think that the organization is more just a means for him to help him gain more knowledge. I don't think he really has an idea of what he wants to do exactly with them. But if they're gonna help him gain more, if they're them being allied with the organization, or the organization having some, you know, affiliation with them, helps him gain more knowledge in some aspects, you know, Cohen's gonna keep them around. But I don't think he necessarily agrees with their ideas and you know, more ideas of morals and stuff like that.
All right. Well, so you're saying Ren Kouen's main, main objectives, main strategy for his process, for his ability to lead his country to great new heights, for him to become king of the world, to unify the whole world under one country. Right. You're saying he needed enough knowledge to do so. Right. And that's why he put up with the organization. That's why he made the pact with Aladdin in the final battle.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying. Okay.
Right.
So, would you consider the fact that his thirst for knowledge, would you equate it to a thirst for power in a sense?
I think he wants knowledge more than power, which is why he even offered up the seat to Hakuryu at one point. I think knowledge to him knowledge to him, I guess, equals power, but, you know, it's a different type of, he would rather learn more about the history of the world first, and then, you know, with the history of the world and the knowledge of the world, he would then, you know, come to assume the throne of the Koh Empire. I think that's where his main objective lies, based on what we have seen. Yes, I would have to go with that.
Okay, so his thirst for power, his thirst for knowledge, allows him to be a better leader than Sinbad. That's what you're saying, basically. You're saying his thirst for knowledge oversees Sinbad's ability to unite several different nations under one coalition, as an alliance to create their own force for good and to be able to help weaker countries like Baghdad, for example.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the co-empire has such impregnable forces, right? That even Kouen has the ability to even go and learn more about new things and learn about the history of the world while having the co-empire be a beast when it comes to territorial expansion, right? That's what I'm talking about. The co-empire is so great and so vast that he can, he could take breaks, he could do whatever he wants, and at the same time, he doesn't have to worry about the organization coming to attack him because their organizations, they're affiliated together. He doesn't have to worry about surrounding countries coming to attack him because they're so vast and they're so powerful and they have so many, metal vessel users around them that there's nothing. They don't have anything to fear. Anything that's all
good and that's all good and well. However, the majority of those things existed before Ren Kouen was even in power. Like those were in place when his father was in power. He was the one who really created the empire, the co-empire. He was the one that really, made this unholy union with the organization to really set up these things in place. Ren Kouen's basically manipulating or taking advantage of these cards in his hand.
Would you say
to get more knowledge, which is good. However, I don't see that as a leadership aspect.
Would you say that though? Because I see where you're going.
Yes.
But if that were the case, the co-empire would have taken hits while he's on his search for knowledge. But they haven't. They've actually grown stronger. And I think that's the thing that we're not making the connect here, is that they got even stronger, and it forced Sinbad's hand to team up with the Aleem Empire, because if he didn't make that move, who knows what would have happened, if he did not make that move right there. So Sinbad, like I said, Sinbad's very calculated. He has to think, all right, if we don't make this move, the co-empire is going to be even bigger. So you know what, I'm going to team up with the Aleem Empire. He already has an alliance. He has the Seven Seas Alliance. Why does the Seven Seas Alliance need to even team up with more people? We know why, because the co-empire is unbelievable. They are vast. They have so much manpower, and they got Ren Kouen basically leading the front. So,
okay, so final topic I want to touch on. Topic. This is more of a morality issue since we're talking about leadership. As we all know, and as we have discussed previously, Ren Kouen made an alliance with Aladdin to help them destroy the organization's creation to get more knowledge, to further his goal of unifying the world.
Right.
However, if you take a look at Sinbad and the Seven Seas Alliance in the same episode, in the same arc, Sinbad and the Seven Seas Alliance came to that battle,
right,
to their aid, with nothing to gain from that. Basically, they weren't going to get money from this. They weren't going to get any new alliances, really. Maybe, possibly, hopefully, but there was nothing written in stone. They showed up because Sinbad knew that even if kings and queens in his alliance died during this battle, it would still be beneficial in terms of leadership to get him and the Seven Seas Alliance to where he wants it to be. That would be a big boost, that would be a big morality idea that they were able to save the day, in which in essence they basically saved the day with their metaverse users.
Yes. They had to go to that war. If they didn't go to that war, the world would have been destroyed as is.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if they waited another 10 minutes, right, after Ren Kouen and all the other metaverse users of the co-empire lost all their Magi, right, they would have died, and then Sinbad could have showed up and did the same thing, because Aladdin probably would not have died, and enough of them would have been able to have the same result, basically, because the majority of the metaverse users from the co-empire were very low on Magi, if not depleted already. So he could have let them die, in essence, circumventing that whole power struggle and leaving the co-empire leaderless or with very few leaders. It would have disrupted a lot of things. But he came to save all of them, not, from a perspective of, let me get knowledge from this, or let me get maybe if by doing this I can secure Aladdin's help, and maybe he can be the Magi for the Seven Seas Alliance. He did this out of the good of his heart. I think that makes him a way better leader. They,
reason why I
some of them could have died in that battle too, but yeah, continue.
I think we're underestimating the Kouen Empire just slightly, and I want to I want to bring up another point that I actually brought up earlier, but it has to do with Sinbad. Actually, let me ask you this question then. Yes. So why did Sinbad team up with the Labyrinth Empire? If he was so great, he wouldn't have to worry about that. He wouldn't have to worry about making another alliance, but he already has an alliance.
I honestly think he teamed up with the Labyrinth Empire not to get military strength in case a war broke out. I think he teamed up with the Labyrinth Empire to kind of make the Kouen Empire wary of a war with the Seven Seas Alliance. I think that his team individually could have defeated Ren Kouen's team. However, the two countries at war, it would have resulted in many innocent people dying. I think the Seven Seas Alliance teaming up with the Labyrinth Empire would have, them as an alliance going against the Kouen Empire would have been a sort of mutually assured destruction scenario. And because of that, they would have been less likely to go to war with each other. I think that's why he teamed up with them, not because he needed more military power.
I think that is when it comes to military power though, because it's more so if he didn't make that move, you're saying that you still think the Seven Seas Alliance could have destroyed all the Kouen Empire while they have the organization backing them? I
think it would have been a fair fight.
No, I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know either.
I don't know.
But I think with the Labyrinth Empire backing them, it would have been a really bad situation.
Yeah, 1v1.
The majority of them would have killed each other.
1v1 Sinbad versus Ren Kouen. I'm going with Sinbad 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But this is not a 1v1. We're talking about Empire versus Empire.
Empires, alliances,
that changes the ball game.
Yes.
That changes the ball game drastically.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sticking with Kouen on this one. And you got Sinbad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with Sinbad.
Yeah.
The first class singularity, King Sinbad.
He's way more helpful than
you guys. Gonna have to help us out with this.
Yeah.
I honestly still don't know because you made some good points, but I still think
you made
Sinbad.
some good points. Yeah. It's
all right, guys. You know what to do.
Let us know down in the comment section below who you think is a better leader. And we got more debates coming soon, so stay tuned. Please subscribe and see you next time.